Charles Spencer, the ninth Earl Spencer and younger brother of Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales, is releasing a book September 22nd of this year of his memories of Princess Diana before she became a royal. I'm very excited about this book. I'm definitely going to be reading it, and I am absolutely going to be making content about what I'm reading. And as always, recommending that you read it too. I am a big fan of Charles Spencer. I also love following the Althorpe House account on Instagram. He's always sharing history, not only just about Princess Diana, but about the Spencer family as well. And I just love the way he honors his big sister. As a younger sibling, I take honoring my siblings, but also just my family very seriously. I've talked about my locket from my grandmother. I've talked about the impact of my Uncle Billy on my life and how much I love my family. I take family very seriously, and I love seeing others who do the same. What disappoints me is that Diana's little brother, mind you, her actual family, is releasing a book of memories about her. The person who probably knew her better than everyone else in the world, someone she was very close to and loved very much, is going to be sharing his memories of Princess Diana, those he's willing to share. And there are actual people in the press who are trying to condemn him for it. Y'all know that got me hot. You already know how I am about Princess Diana, and you also know how I am about how the press treated her. I won't take you down that rabbit hole because I'm pretty sure when you clicked on this video, you did not have all day to dedicate to hearing me rant and rave. Just know they piss me off. So today I want to talk about that book, talk about what's in it, as well as excerpts from the interview he gave about the upcoming book, and then I'm going to share my opinion about the criticism he's receiving. Let's get started. This article is in Feminegra, written by Miss Historian, titled Why Charles Spencer's Account of Princess Diana is Necessary for Historical Record. Nearly 30 years after Princess Diana's death, her brother, Charles Spencer, is finally telling her story himself. The ninth Earl Spencer will release Swan Song, Diana, My Sister, on September 22nd, 2026. The book will cover their childhood, Diana's public life, and the week of her death in Paris in 1997. Spencer says he wrote it because he was tired of reading inaccurate accounts of his sister and wanted to put his own memories on record. Now, I want to point something out, but I'm going to wait until we get a little further in the article because I am also a sister. I am a big sister. I am a little sister. I am the middle sister. I have one half brother, and I have 4 stepbrothers. I have a little sister. I have an older sister, and I have one stepsister that is my age. I have a lot of siblings. And something I will say is I love them all. I'm very protective of all of them. And if I had to read accounts of my sister, particularly my older sister or my younger sister, like they're the two that I'm like super sensitive about, especially my little sister. If I had to read accounts of people misremembering them or just lying about them, especially for 30 years, I would have crashed out by now. I would have been in jail a long time ago. And listen, I understand that people, humans, they don't rub everybody the right way all the time. People are going to love me. People are going to hate me. People are going to love my sisters and brothers. They're going to hate my sisters and brothers. As you live life, you will acquire enemies even when you are minding your damn business. Not everybody's going to take to you. And it's okay for people to have their own experience with you. And honestly, it's really nobody's business whether or not you like their sibling. The difference here, and the thing that people seem to keep missing when they criticize Charles Spencer for protecting Diana's legacy, is the fact that not only have people made a sport out of disrespecting Princess Diana, but they've made a fortune off disrespecting Princess Diana. And not just disrespect. I'm not just saying things like, oh, I don't particularly care for her. She's not my favorite royal. Or y'all think she can dress? She can't dress. Well, none of those things are true. I've heard people say all of them, and they haven't really afflicted me in the same way as when people go out of their way to malign her as a person, as a mother, as a woman, as a wife, as a royal, just as a human being. There are people out there who literally say, oh, she only did humanitarian work for photo ops. And I'm like, mind you, this is the most stylish royal to ever live. If she wanted a photo op, she need only to walk outside of her house. Why in the hell would she create a whole persona for a photo op when she wanted you to leave her ass alone? She was passionate about the press not hounding her, not following her around, not intruding on her private personal moments or in private personal spaces. She wanted y'all's ass out of here. But you think her entire motivation for her life's work, a life work that she put so much into that none of her comrades or counterparts have been able to match since, and she's been gone for 30 years? You think she did all of that very hard, tedious, difficult work? This woman was going in spaces that were so remote that only 3 or 4 people could come with her at a time. And she still trudged headfirst into these areas to help people in need. She and her son have that in common, as well as her daughter-in-law. They have that in common. They were very passionate about speaking to and elevating the underprivileged, the underserved, and the under-resourced. This woman was a maverick. Why do you think I admire her so much? I've always admired her fashion and I always honored her memory. But when I read her book and I learned about what motivated her, what got Diana Spencer out of bed in the morning, I wanted to fight every last person who ever even dared to breathe an ill word towards that woman's legacy. I wanted to stomp y'all's asses out. Just telling you how I felt, and I never met her. I can't imagine being her brother, her baby brother, watching y'all do this to his sister, lying on his sister, misrepresenting the way she was treated by her husband. The asshole y'all seem to elevate and admire all the damn time, despite him not only doing nothing, but going out of his way to do his worst. If I were Charles Spencer, I would have beat all of y'all's asses by now. Even if one of y'all took me down, I would have got up, flat Stanley and all, and still kept fighting until you killed me. I would be beating y'all down because no, you're not about to talk about my sister. Not only is it wrong for the press to not only misremember and misrepresent their participation in Diana's agony and eventually her death, but the fact that they love blaming her for the abuse they inflicted upon her, it's a steel rod up my spine. One of the things that really got my goose, and baby, there are many. If you watch my recap of Diana, her true story in her own words, then you know. But one of the things that got my goose was finding out that the reason there are so many photos of Princess Diana crying, going in and out of stores, is because the photographers, the paparazzi, were so hell-bent on making her cry that they would say horrible things to her about herself, about her marriage, about her kids. They would shit talk this woman who was minding her business, follow her around, taking photos to make her cry. And you may ask, well, why would they want to make Princess Diana cry? Oh, I'll tell you. It's because the asshole tabloids were paying top dollar for photos of Diana crying because they could create so many tawdry stories out of it. So they paid way more, triple the normal rate if you could catch her crying. And it was rare to catch Princess Diana crying, minding her business, because she was all about love and giving love and being there for people. And just, she was a spot of joy in this world. So in order to trigger her, they would say terrible things to her. So imagine getting out of your car, you're going to get some stamps or some eggs or something to eat, and you hop out of your car, and these random men who you don't know, they just have a camera. So there's no badge that they can flash like a law enforcement officer, even though, child, that's not that much better. But there's no badge they can flash for you to quickly identify the group they belong to. There's nothing that can really, that for her that can confirm or verify who they are and why they're there. It's just a man with a camera. Several men with cameras surround you wherever you're going. Follow you wherever you're going, say horrible things to you, and then they snap photos of you reacting or not reacting. Doesn't really matter. And in your heart of hearts, you know, I should be able to respond to this, but I can't. Because if I do, I'm just making them even more money. My existence is making them rich. Their abuse of me is making them a fortune. There are people out here whose grandkids are eating off the terrible words their grandparents said to Princess Diana. And no, I'm not happy about that. I don't sit with that and just find resolve in knowing that she was so admired. No amount of global admiration can make up for someone being abused And that woman was abused. When we talk about bullying, not even in adulthood, but in general, we often talk about the very difficult effects of bullying on adults, on children, what have you. When they talk about kids not having anyone to sit with at the cafeteria table, the impact of that. Or a mob of children bullying one, throwing paper towel at them, throwing pieces of paper at them, screaming at them, messing up their clothes, roughing up their hair, pushing them into lockers. You can imagine that. And I bet a steel rod went up your spine when I said that. You can imagine a little kid being at a school. They don't know anyone. Everybody knows each other. And they're being picked on day in, day out. People surrounding them, making fun of them, putting them down, knocking their books out of their hand. Teachers and faculty aren't doing anything. Toughen up. It's character building. You can see and feel how aggressive that would feel and how intimidating and scary and heartbreaking that would be, right? Now imagine an adult. They go into a space, maybe a dinner party. Everyone knows each other, but no one knows them. No one talks to them. They sit at the edge of the table trying to enter a conversation. No one will let them in. People are scoffing at them, making fun of them. They can tell they're the topic at the other side of the table, but they can't do anything about it. They're stuck there for the next few hours, feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling depressed. We can hear and feel how lonely and sad and depressing that is, right? Now imagine as an adult having those experiences and people intentionally taking photos of you, denying the pain that they are intentionally causing you, and then making a fortune from bullying you at school, bullying you at the dinner party, making you feel ostracized at work, making you feel left out at family gatherings. I mean, a comparable experience that a lot of people have is in-laws. Sometimes in-laws are not kind and not nice, and they make people feel left out, and they go out of their way to do it because it makes them feel important. And if you've ever been in that situation and no one has had your back, you know how lonely that can be. Now imagine if that was happening to you years on end. And 30 years after your death, people are still saying, oh, she just made it up. Oh, he just made that up. That's not important. Oh my God, he had the world. So what? People were mean to you. So what? People said they wish you were dead. So what? People were talking about your children. So what? People were okay with you getting cheated on publicly and making fun of you for doing so. You've done nothing wrong. But your husband's grandmother is laughing at you for not taking to being cheated on well. That woman was mistreated in and out of that family. The media was wildly complicit. They were also very much complicit in the passing of Princess Diana. They also denied her pain, her experience, even when she outright said what she was going through. When she revealed that she was experiencing bulimia, do you know those people mocked her, made fun of her? They tried to trigger her with it. And now, years later, some of those are the same people who did those things are still in media positions and still correspondents, etc. A lot of those same people will deny that shit ever happened, despite it being documented on video and written record. Now imagine being her little brother, seeing that for years, knowing there's really nothing you can do, trying to protect her legacy, trying to protect her son, trying to protect her daughter-in-law and her grandkids, trying to do all you can as a little brother to honor your sister. You protect her resting space vehemently. You honor her and venerate her legacy vehemently. No one can speak on your sister without your approval. Unless they do, and should they do so, you are quick with a word to defend your sister. And I know that's right as a baby sibling. You damn right. I say all that to say, if anybody has a right to protect their sister in death in a way that he was denied being able to do so in life, it's Charles Spencer. And doubting his ability to take up for his sister, to remember his sister, to elevate, venerate, and honor his sister makes you an asshole. And you're only continuing the work that her media abusers did to her 30 years and beyond ago. You don't deserve to tell anyone's family how they can remember someone. And since y'all are so hell-bent, not everybody, but the ones who love remembering Diana, she wasn't all she cracked up to be. Diana wasn't this angel. For those of you who love saying shit like that, I hope you know neither was your old greasy granny with the hole in her panty. She didn't do shit. I could throw a rock and hit 55 people who never heard of your old greasy granny who probably sat on her porch being racist and spitting tar out the side of her mouth. But you want to venerate her old ass, but we can't venerate an actual angel on earth and Princess Diana? The next time you try to shit on someone for remembering Princess Diana fondly, I want you to remember that you yourself are going to become an ancestor one day. And what will people have to say about your mean, old, cruel ass? I will be right there. I'm going to write it all out for my grandkids to bring it up. Anytime your grandkids or great grandkids try to bring you up, Piers Morgan, Jeremy Clarkson, anytime, Dan Wooten, anytime your kids, grandkids, stepkids, what have you, bring you up in memory, I want my kids with a microphone, and I'll pre-buy it right now and put it in weight and put it in storage so that they have the ability to say what I want them to say. This person was an asshole who participated in the racial abuse of Meghan Sussex and participated in trying to deter people from remembering this woman, Princess Diana, fondly. They abused her son, Prince Harry. Do not let them be venerated positively. Do not let them be honored. Talk about the truth. They are assholes. They are racist. They're misogynists. They're cretins who walk this earth, and we exist in spite of them. They don't offer anything positive to the world. Yet they're always the first ones to come out and say something negative about a woman or someone who supports or protects a woman. Or at the end of the day, come out and say what someone's brother can and cannot say about them. Do you hear how crazy that is? I want everybody to think about the people closest to them in their family lineage. Maybe it's your mother, your grandmother, your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, what have you. Now ask yourself, at my funeral, should this person get up to give a eulogy and say the lovely memories we have together, or share some of the things they know I did in private, like donate or volunteer, things I would rather people not know, that only like my husband know. Like sometimes I donate and volunteer places that I would rather just keep private because that's between me and them and the organization or the people it impacts. And should that person get up and say, hey, I want to talk about Sharion? Number says, I want to get up and talk about this person. And then someone from the press, someone you don't know, an old coworker, or someone that you've never met but has known about you, gets up and says, you don't have the right to talk about Sharion. Do you hear how crazy that would be? Like, imagine a neighbor walking up and being like, hey, John, I know Sharion was your wife, but you don't have the right to venerate her. Get out of here. First of all, you ain't gonna do that with my husband. You get stomped out. But imagine if someone said that to my sister Trinity, they're like, Trinity, you cannot honor Sharion. Or Sakia, you cannot honor Sharion. Or Jayani, you cannot honor your aunt. Julian, you cannot honor your aunt. I would hope that they know my spirit is with them, and the whole time my spirit will be saying, fight them. Shoot them. Stomp them out. They would be like, oh my God, ever since her spirit has decided to reside in my heart, I've been quite violent. But regardless of what it is, I would hope that they would know they have the right to defend themselves and me. So anytime these people come at Charles Spencer, I feel like I'm there to say, Charles, do what you do, and I'm going to attack them for you, because you can't tell somebody what their sibling can and cannot say about them. That is absolutely evil on another level. But why am I expecting anything more from the same people that drove this woman to her death to try to do anything but remember her fondly? So I went on quite a tangent. Let's get back to the article, shall we? Y'all not going to come back to my channel. Y'all going to say, she ran too much. I can't stand her. I should give y'all an option. Like, if you would like to hear this with all of my rants, press 1. If you want to hear the article, press 2. Anyway, they're going to fire me from the YouTube call center. He says the book will show readers the Diana he knew before fame. Royalty and relentless press attention changed everything. It will also mark the first time he has written about her in life in this much detail. And already some critics are accusing him of profiting from Diana's memory. That is difficult to take seriously. It really is, Miss Historian. For decades, journalists, royal commentators, and biographers who barely knew Diana have made money writing about her marriage, her private life, mental health, and death. Yet when her own brother writes about the sister he grew up with, suddenly people question whether he has the right. Don't piss me off right now, because that's such a crazy, they take such liberties with Princess Diana. If we are going to keep buying books about Diana nearly 3 decades after her death, I would rather hear from someone who actually knew and loved her than another royal commentator reconstructing her life from the outside. Quote, Spencer said he decided to write the book after being inundated with requests for interviews about Diana as the anniversary of her tragic death approaches. This has convinced me to write down my thoughts and memories once and for all, rather than having the discomfort of again reading the opinions of others, many of which are based in untruths that have become accepted over time. He is also an accomplished author. This isn't him just writing, but he is an author, and he has several book series and a podcast. Like, he's a very accomplished man. Princess Diana remains one of the most beloved and recognized figures of the modern royal era. Almost 3 decades after her death, interest in her life has not faded, and future generations will continue to encounter competing versions of who she was. That makes accounts from people who actually knew her, especially her own family, even more valuable. For decades, much of Diana's story has reached the public through royal biographers, palace sources, journalists, and dramatists interpreting her life from the outside. Even The Crown, which often portrayed Diana sympathetically, sometimes dramatized disputed versions of events that align more closely with later established narratives about her choices. For example, the series depicts Diana warning Queen Elizabeth II in advance about her 1995 Panorama interview, although contemporary accounts indicate the interview took the royal family by surprise. It also implied that shortly before her death, she and King Charles had gotten to a point, at the time he was Prince Charles, had gotten to a point where they were able to co-parent in a very friendly manner, and that Charles was this understanding figure. I don't know if you guys saw that last episode of the season where they highlighted Diana, but it made Charles look like he was just trying to do what was best for his family, and Diana finally came around. They didn't show how difficult King Charles actually was with Diana as well as their sons, and how absent he actually was before Diana's death. Hell, he was absent after her death, but it was even worse before her death. The series rightly emphasizes Martin Bashir's manipulation of Diana. The 2021 Dyson inquiry found that he used deceit, including forged bank statements, to secure access to her. But reducing Diana's interview entirely to Bashir's manipulation risks stripping her of agency too. Dyson accepted that she probably would have agreed to an interview even without Bashir's intervention. Diana wanted to speak publicly about her marriage and her treatment within the institution, even if Bashir obtained her trust through methods the inquiry later condemned. Yeah, it's like they don't understand nuance. We can understand that the methods that got her to do the interview were deceitful, but Diana stood by what she said. Diana had already shown that determination to tell her own story. She secretly cooperated with Andrew Morton's 1992 biography, recording detailed answers that later formed the basis of Diana, her true story in her own words. Her participation matters because it shows that speaking publicly about her marriage and royal life was not an impulse created solely by Bashir. That is why Charles Spencer's account matters. He knew Diana before royal life transformed her into a global figure, before photographers followed her everywhere, and before strangers began competing to define her. Diana is also now a historical figure whose life, influence, and treatment by the monarchy and media will be studied and debated for generations. That makes her brother's firsthand account important to the historical record, particularly as younger generations encounter Diana through biographies, documentaries, and dramatizations rather than living memory. Spencer's recollections will not be the only version of Diana, nor should they be treated as beyond question, but they offer something much of the Diana industry cannot: the perspective of someone who knew the person long before she became the mythology. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. So that's all I have for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I also want to take this moment to say a very special thank you to Leola Brown for supporting the channel through CashApp. I really appreciate your donation, and I always appreciate your support. I hope you're enjoying the content. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.